In this video, we are going to do questions from this chapter, Chemical Reactions and Equation, and that is the chapter 1. So the questions that I have taken are from the two sources. Number one, we have taken questions we are going to do from the previous pre-board exams of 2025 from different schools and also some PYQ, that is previous year board exams question. So let's begin with the first question. In this question, it says exposure of silver chloride to sunlight for a long duration turns gray due to which of the following reason? As you can see over here in the diagram figure, you can see silver chloride is taken, and silver chloride is what? AgCl2. Right? This is AgCl2. So when sunlight is exposed on it, what happens? It decomposes to form silver and chlorine gas is released. So this is what? A decomposition reaction, and primary reason, in fact, the only reason why it turns gray, because the color of the silver is gray. And that is the reason silver chloride turns gray due to the formation of silver, or we can say due to decomposition of silver chloride into silver and chlorine, and the gray color is due to this. So we can see that the correct answer will be the formation of silver by decomposition of silver chloride. So only one is the correct reason, correct option in that case. In this MCQ, it says magnesium ribbon is rubbed with sandpaper before making it burn. Now you have to find out the reason for rubbing this magnesium ribbon. What you should know that magnesium is a very reactive metal. It's a reactive metal. So what happens? This metal, magnesium ribbon, say if I take it, it reacts with oxygen present in the atmosphere and form a thin layer of magnesium oxide. And this thin layer prevents the magnesium from burning. This thin layer, as you can see, prevents the magnesium from burning. And the thin layer, which I said, is magnesium oxide. So therefore, the correct answer in this case will be what? To remove the magnesium oxide layer, which is formed over the surface of magnesium. That should be the correct answer in this case. This question says quicklime, which is calcium oxide, combines vigorously with water to form a compound A. Now, which is A here, right? A further reacts slowly with carbon dioxide in air to form a compound B. And we have to identify this compound A and B. Well, these are the option here for the compound A and B. So first you should write down the reaction involved. What you know that calcium oxide is what? Quicklime. It reacts first with water vigorously to form calcium hydroxide, that is CaOH whole twice, which we say as also known as slaked lime. Now this slaked lime, when it is exposed to atmosphere, it slowly reacts with carbon dioxide present in the atmosphere to form a new compound called calcium carbonate, CaCO3. Right. And this thin layer is responsible for giving shiny finish to the wall. And what is released here is water vapor, we can say. So now we have to identify A clearly. A is slaked lime and B has to be calcium carbonate. So if I choose the option over here, which is A calcium oxide is over here and B calcium carbonate. So we'll say option B is correct in this case. This question, which is based on electrolysis of water, the question here is name the gases which is evolved at cathode and anode. So what you should know that cathode is what? Cathode is the terminal or the rod, not terminal. It is the carbon rod here in this case, which is connected with the negative terminal of the battery. The one which is connected with the negative terminal of the battery is called cathode, and the one which is connected with the positive terminal of the battery is called anode. Now we have to name the gas over here. So you can see from here, oxygen is collected at anode, and well, this diagram will not be given in the question, and hydrogen is collected at cathode. So from here we can conclude these two things, that is The gases we have to talk about respectively. So at cathode, it is hydrogen, and at anode, it is oxygen gas produced. Right. Now, there is another question that it says, why is the volume of gas collected in one of the electrode is double? So you can see from here, if I can show you, that is the gas collected. Look into this. Here, the volume of gas is more than. So if I paint red one has more than the one which I paint, say yellow, this portion. So this is what the question. Now, in order to answer this question, you need to understand the reaction first of all. So if I write water molecules, it splits into hydrogen and oxygen. Now, if I balance it, I can see that hydrogen is balanced, but for oxygen, we need to place a 2 over here. That results hydrogen being 4, so I have to place 2 here. Now look into the ratio. When two molecules of water splits, it gives rise to two molecules of hydrogen and one molecule of oxygen. So clearly the ratio is 2:1. So what you need to answer for this, why the gas collected in one tube is double the other, and the reason is what? This reaction. So you'll say that after writing the reaction, that when two molecules of water splits, it gives rise to two molecules of hydrogen and one molecule of oxygen. So that should be the answer for this part. There is one more part, not a more, that's the second part. How will you test the gas evolved at cathode and anode? So we know cathode is hydrogen gas. And what is the test for hydrogen gas? This gas burns with popping sound. It burns with a pop sound. And for oxygen, well, how do we show the presence of oxygen? So by bringing a burning incense stick near this gas, you will see that the incense stick starts to glow. As you know that oxygen is a supporter of combustion, so therefore the burning of candle, not candle, is an incense stick will increase. Now, there can be some other test you may write. And if I read the next question, write down the chemical equation for electrolysis. Yeah, that is already written. There's one extended part, and that is, what is this? It says why few drops of sulfuric acid is added to pure water. Well, instead of sulfuric acid, it can be hydrochloric acid. What you know that pure water, well, pure water here they mean distilled water, and distilled water is a poor conductor of electricity. As you should know that pure water, that is distilled water, is poor conductor of electricity. So no electrolysis will takes place. And in order to make it conducting, we add few drops. We add few drops of what? Either H2SO4, sulfuric acid, or hydrochloric acid to make it conducting. Otherwise, electrolysis will not take place. So these are the answers for these questions. In this assertion reason based question is changing of color of copper from reddish brown to black, right? Is an example of, one more time. So assertion is changing of color of copper from reddish brown to black is an example of reduction, and they say reason here is hydrogen is removed. Now, first of all, look into this reaction. You can see copper powder, which is its color is reddish brown. So when it is heated, when this copper is heated, what happens? It turns black. This copper turns black. And what is the reason for this formation of a layer of black color? Let's understand. So if I talk about copper, which is copper, when it is strongly heated in the presence of oxygen, right, in air, it turns black due to the formation of a layer of copper oxide. So this layer of copper oxides makes it, what we can say that this layer of copper oxides make it look like black. Now, what you can see that one can easily identify that this is a reaction in which the oxygen is added. Oxygen being added, and it's a part of oxidation. Although the whole reaction is redox, but over here copper is getting oxidized to form copper oxide, and that's why the layer of a black layer is formed over it. So assertion is definitely correct. We say assertion is correct. And but then reason we should say wrong. As I can see, they're saying that hydrogen is removed. Well, there is no hydrogen here, right? Hydrogen is removed. We can see that in the reaction involved, there is no hydrogen involved. Neither is a part of reactant or product. So assertion is correct, but the reason is false. So what's that option? Assertion is true and the reason is false would be option C in this case. In this MCQ, it says in the double displacement reaction between the aqueous potassium iodide and aqueous lead nitrate, a yellow precipitate of lead iodide is formed. Now, what we have to find out? Well, performing this activity, if lead nitrate is not available, which of the following can be used in place of lead nitrate? Well, the writing the reaction is not important, but I should write out to recall what is they are talking about. So it's a double displacement reaction. So lead nitrate is what? PbNO3 whole twice, right? Whole twice when reacts with potassium iodide, that is Ki. And what is the result formed? That's a, since it's a double displacement reaction, there will be exchange of ions where I wrote this is PbNO3, right? So I by mistake, please, this bracket should have been in the other place. This is PbNO3 whole twice. So for the product form will be PbI2, that is lead iodide, and KNO3, that is KNO3. Right. So you should know that potassium compounds are always soluble in water. So it should be aqueous. And the precipitate so formed will be this. This is the precipitate formed. But then our question was something that if this, what is not present, lead nitrate is not present. So if lead nitrate is not present, we can use lead acetate, right? So correct answer is this. Purpose of me writing this reaction in order to make you recall this about this reaction. In this question, we have to write down the essential conditions for the reaction to takes place. So this is what the reaction given here. Here silver bromide splits or decomposes to give silver and bromine gas. Well, you should know this is a decomposition reaction, and in this case what is needed? Sunlight, right? So we should know that the essential condition necessary over here is sunlight. Now this sunlight you will be writing over the arrow, right? Now if I read the next part, and there is an extended part as well that we have to find out, that is one application of this reaction. So you should know that this one is used in black and white photography. This reaction, right, that's used in black and white photography. This one similar reaction to this, you should also know about it. So instead of silver bromide, it's silver chloride also react in the same manner, that is AgCl, right, will give in the presence of sunlight to give silver and chlorine gas is released. Well, application is same, right? Even this reaction is also used in black and white photography. Now, if I see the other part, it says complete the following equation. Over there, you can see this is a reaction given. And what is this? This is decomposition of ferrous sulfate crystal. This is ferrous sulfate crystals on supplying heat. On heating, it breaks down into ferric oxide and what are the things? Sulfur dioxide and sulfur trioxide. So this is SO2, which is a gas, and SO3, that is sulfur trioxide gas, is produced. Now there is one more part. What happens when water is added to quicklime? So quicklime is what? Calcium oxide. And when we add water into it, a vigorous reaction takes place to produce calcium hydroxide. And heat is released during this reaction. So this is an example of an exothermic reaction. At the same time, you can say it's a combination also, combination as well as exothermic reaction. So we had to write down the chemical equation, which I have written over here. In this question, it says, which of the following is an example of displacement reaction? And these are the four options given over here. Now, before we think about the right answer, let's understand once again what is a displacement reaction. So what you know about a displacement reaction, we say the chemical reaction, if I read it, a chemical reaction in which a more reactive element, yeah, you need to emphasize this element, right? Single element displaces a less reactive element from the salt solution. Now, if I write out the general reaction, in fact, using the symbols, not symbols, in fact, the alphabet. So let's say if I take AB as a compound or a salt solution, and if I react with C, then what is going to happen? That C, if it is more reactive than say A or B, it will displace, right? So which will be formed CB plus A. As you can see, A is getting displaced. Right. So now we need to see a single element. This we should discard because I can't see any element over here. These are compound. Now I should discard this also for the same reason. You can't see an element over here. They are compound. This is a combination reaction as there is no substance being displaced. A single substance is formed. So therefore the correct option over here is this, and we should give a reason for that. A reason for selecting this is copper, which is an element, and that is more reactive than silver. So it is displacing silver and forming a compound called copper nitrate. So this is the reason why should we select this as the correct option in this case. Now, in this assertion reason based question, it says chemical equation can be made more informative, and the reason says we can write physical states of the reactants and products, including temperature, pressure, conditions, and naming the catalyst used. Now, but before that, before answering or choosing the correct option, let's say if I write our reaction over here, that water, which is liquid here, and when electricity is passed in water, it splits into hydrogen and oxygen. Now, this reaction does not give an idea that whether the water is in the gaseous state like steam or what is the state of the other two products. But we can make the reaction more informative by writing the state, like say writing L for liquid, G for gas, and the condition that it does not go on its own, electricity has to be passed. So we'll say that, yes, this is the assertion is correct. Chemical reaction can be made more informative. And how can we do so? By writing the physical state of the reaction, including the other conditions which is necessary for the reaction to take place. So therefore, we should say that both assertion and reason are true, and it is the correct explanation as well. In this assertion reason based question, it says decomposition of vegetable matter into a compost is an endothermic reaction, and decomposition reaction reason involves breakdown of single reactant into simpler product. Well, we need to first understand what is decomposition of vegetable matter, which is different from the decomposition reaction, right? They are not same, and we need to understand what is endo or exothermic reaction. So first I'll tell you the endothermic reaction. It is what? A reaction in which the energy is used for the reaction to proceed. That is called endothermic reaction. But then what is decomposition reaction should also bring about the clarity of this question. So what is a decomposition reaction? We can see that this is a reaction in which a single reactants break down into to give simpler products. Now we from here can conclude that our reason is correct, right? So the reason is correct. This reason is correct. Now, as I said, that these two decomposition are not the same they are talking about. Here, decomposition of vegetable matter means how do we convert animal excreta and vegetable matter into compost. And that is not an endothermic reaction. That is an exothermic reaction, right? That is an exothermic reaction. And what is exothermic reaction? The reaction in which the heat energy is released, right? So this is, we can say that this is an incorrect. So if assertion is incorrect, we say it is option D. Sorry. Yeah, assertion is false, right? So assertion is false, should be D.